good. All right, so here's the basic deal. You guys know how these videos work. So what we do is we have a microphone right here, and then we put a phone in this little device right here. And what we do is we do something I don't think any other attorney does. Literally, you could take every single field that's out there, literally, personal injury, you could take wills, trusts, and estates, maritime law, tax law. You could take any form of law. I don't know of a single attorney that goes live and answers questions live from callers that just call in. It's absolute insanity. But inherent with that, we're going to do it. And we've done it many, 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 many times. Now, I am super tired tonight because I'm at the end of the first week of Sweetie's surgery stuff, where she basically was going through her recovery, where they did the TPLO, which is where they cut the leg in half, rotate it 5 degrees, and reattach it with hardware. So the bottom line is this is her second TPLO. I'm still super tired. This is the most tired I'm going to be because I'll start to get out of this tiredness as we go into the next week. I'm going to go ahead and set up the phone right now so that we can plug it right into this. Now, let me tell you some of the basic rules with how this works and how I do it. That way you kind of understand exactly what's going on. When you call in, please have your legal question ready to roll. So what I mean by that is please have your legal question where you can just boop, run it right off, get it right into the mix. With that said, no question stacking. I mean, you can ask one more question, but don't ask question after question after question. Oh, just have one more question. Don't do that. You can do an extra question, but don't do more than 2 questions. If you have a lot of questions, there's a mini contract below that you can send to the law firm. They'll hook you into my calendar and we'll do a full hour. And that way we can answer all the stuff that you have. If this video helps you, please remember to leave a review. Those little stars on Google. Go over to Google and type in Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. With that said, use a fake name throughout this entire process. We don't go super deep with these questions because I don't have your entire file in front of me. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the phone number into the chat area. That way we can get it rolling. The phone number is 407-279-1754. Again, 407-279-1754. I know it's super late. I was trying to shoot for 11:30, but I was actually working all day on claim files, and it kind of wore me out. Mondays are tough. Thursdays are way better for me, but Mondays are tough. We have the first call. Let's get him on the phone right now. Here we go. Speaker is on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hey, my name is Josh. Pretty much my question is, I understand there was new overpayment rules passed a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much just my brother had an overpayment like years and years ago, and he's claiming survivor benefits from our mother's record after she passed away this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just figured out, 4 years ago, he had an overpayment. I was just curious if I can file a waiver now under those new guidelines.
So I don't know the details of the overpayment, but look, they're changing everything so fast. And you got to keep in mind too, the first things that they were shooting for with the original construction under O'Malley's, guidelines to make Congress happy were a little bit different than what they ended up with. And to be honest with you, when Trump's new guy comes in, they're probably going to be a little bit modified from there. So first thing I would do if I were you is I'd file an SSA 632, get them to go ahead and take a look at the claim. If you need to appeal, get out the SSA 561 or just appeal it online. But bottom line is this, I would definitely go ahead and submit the 632, but have a plan. So if you're sitting there and you're like, well, how did this overpayment occur? What are my defenses? All right, well, let me ask you real quick. How did the overpayment occur in one sentence? And what is your defense to that in one sentence? Go ahead.
So pretty much I think my mother got a new job at that time. And she reported her income, but I guess they didn't catch on quick enough, and it was SSI. So she was over the income limit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so she was the payee person. They connected was she actually in control of the account of the son or no?
Yeah, she was the representative payee.
Okay,
and
cool.
Also I forgot to add, he's severely intellectually disabled.
Okay, so this is really a payee against the person who is helping distribute the funds to the mentally the individual who has mental impairment. So let me ask you this. Is he of the capacity where he could understand the overpayment, or is this a situation where if you said to him overpayment, that would mean nothing to him?
Yeah, he does not have the capacity to understand that.
Okay, so basically, then it comes down to defense on behalf of the payee and how she's going to structure that to them. So what is the defense that the mother is going to use to describe why she didn't make notice on the SSA as to the situation related to her additional earnings.
Mm-hmm.
You tell me, what's her defense? Yeah.
Oh, well, she passed away. She is no longer with us.
Okay.
And I'm just like now finding out all of this.
Okay. So what you're going to have to do is try to establish an excusable negligence defense against basically her getting the job, having the earnings were over, things like that. Lack of notice, lack of knowledge. She made notice, but they didn't go ahead and change the calculations in a timely fashion. Those are the things you're going to have to work on.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
You as well. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and take the next call real quick. Keep in mind, I'm going to try and keep it around 30 minutes, maybe go a little bit over. I am just super tired because I'm beat the hell from basically taking care of my doggy, which just got through a lot of surgery. Let's see if I can get through this other person who was the last person who called. Let's see what we can do. Let me put it on speakerphone. Let's see if we can get some rings out of the deal. Okay. Here we go. Second ring coming up.
Hello?
Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
This is S'mores the cat. Hey,
Very
I got
good.
a quick question. When I qualified for SSDI, they qualified my daughter too on my benefit.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if, when she turns 18, if my wife would be able to draw on my benefits or not. She would be like 55 then or something. Would she have to wait till she's 62?
Well, I mean, is she disabled or not disabled?
No,
All right, so the child's getting auxiliary benefits. There might be benefits when the wife reaches 60. She's not disabled, so she can't tap them at 50. And then, of course, the daughters will run until, and it depends on exactly what type of benefits she has that fall into the child auxiliary rules. But bottom line is, it could be until she's 18. If she's still in high school, it could be until 19, or if it's a different program, to 22.
Hey, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
You too. Thanks, Walter.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Perfect. Okay, good. So we're going to go ahead and take the, let's see what we got here. I'm just trying to find the next call in here. Boop. Let me see if I can grab this one real quick. And I clicked it. Didn't do anything. Hold on. Boop. There we go. Okay, speaker is on. Let's see if we can get this person to answer the phone real quick. That way we are good to go.
Hello.
Howdy, Madam. Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Diana Ross. It's been a while since I talked.
Howdy, Madam. Yeah.
Yeah, they got this new something going on where they're telling people you can receive $3,000 for groceries. Have you heard about that?
Is that the thing where like they do a video and they're in YouTube or they're in Walmart or Publix or whatever?
Yeah, right. Right, but I found out that they want you to change your plan to the Advantage plan. That's what I kind of heard about it. They want you to change it to an Advantage plan, and I talked to Medicare, and they said it's not that much of a difference, but the problem is you won't have the same freedom that you would normally have, like to see different doctors. Like me, I have the freedom to see different doctors and stuff like that because I have Medicare, but then I have TRICARE as a backup. Medicare is 80%, TRICARE pays 20%. So I just want to let all the readers and everybody know that, yeah, I believe they do have something where you can get money, stuff for groceries, but there's a catch to it. They may want to mess with your plan where you can't just see any doctor, you want to see or whatever. It kind of restricts you from what I heard. Have you heard anything about that?
So, and keep in mind, it's mostly federal, and it's only really becoming more relevant now because everybody's so poor because the economy's been basically sabotaged. But at the end of the day, I've seen the reports on the $3,000 as a counterpoint to the accountable resources option. So you have to understand, like, what's going on with the SSA is that So you remember how they had the in-kind support maintenance rule, and then they got rid of food as being a accountable asset for people on SSI, so that they could, try and get more towards that $943. So there's also, basically an outline as to food assistance. Now, food assistance for most people comes through in the form of SNAP. SSI looks like they have some form of it, and then basically your own insurance that you have for health insurance usually gives you some of them for elderly people have some sort of you get this much in allowance for food. I'll do a video on that because it's not as simple as people and you're probably experiencing that right now. But there's county, state, federal, and then private insurance programs for disabled and elderly that support essentially food assistance and stuff like that. Now, the ones that I saw online, I couldn't verify, where they were they showed people going into Walmart and stuff like that, and and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. I haven't seen this, but there are types of things that offset earnings based off of grocery needs. So I'll do a video specifically on that. That way you have an understanding as to what I've seen in application specifically for supplemental security income.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been watching that, and some people do it to get your information and scam you. You don't know who's scamming just to get your information, and it's so confusing. And I think they're confusing a lot of elderly people because I'm 64.
Sure,
and
yeah.
so they're kind of not. And then I'm just wondering. Last but not least, I appreciate you're going to do a video.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. Are they? They're going to hopefully give us more money, but then I hope they don't increase the cost for, Medicare.
So the major things that people don't talk about when it comes to Social Security benefits, and I had a talk with an advisor for a House of Representative person on the Democrat side. And one of the things that I had to cool my jets while I was talking to him, because people always talk about the balancing off effect. You get a slight cost of living increase, but then whatever benefit you needed to also increase, that ends up costing you more, whether it decreases in worth or they charge you more to be able to get access to it. So one of the things is that the government has a lot of this stuff locked up in an interchange where if one thing goes up, the other thing goes down a little bit. So the major thing that has to happen going forward is that the the economy has to significantly increase, and then the government has to try to place restrictions on abuse of profitability when it comes to food and utilities. And so one of the big things that I foresee over the next 4 years happening is that the government will likely go ahead and put limits on CEO decisions with grocery chains as to how much profitability they can have on certain items. Now, if you were to go ahead and buy, for example, items that were, high label, instead of buying the Jell-O alternative, you had to buy Jell-O, then I could see Jell-O, going up. But if they were to sell, for example, Walmart Great Value, a brand, I think that they will likely put basically price restrictions on available return on investment profit to these CEOs of these grocery store chains so that people essentially can afford to buy this cheaper alternative. Now, that will offset massively the likelihood of people buying these other named brand products. But to be fair, with this whole thing, people can't afford food right now. A can of soup is far too expensive. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So the number one thing that you want right now, the government doesn't have money to give you more internally from the Social Security Administration. But what it does have is the ability to go ahead and price control. It also has the ability to control things like, the marketplace for oil, and as you probably saw, a lot of people would say, oh, Biden can't control food. Biden can't control oil. Biden was one of the most tactful oil user abusers as a president that I've ever seen. Some of his moves were genius. Some of them were just the worst choices I've ever seen, like a blunder of epic proportion on a chess board. But, one of the things that always amazed me is that, people were like, oh, wow, oil's coming down in price. Things are magically more affordable. And that was months after he became the largest exporter of oil in the history of every single president, every single, prior year that America existed. And, the math is simple. If you want the disabled and the retired, that fragile class, to actually, do better, the best thing you can do is make the things that they have to pay for cheaper. That actually gives them a lot more money than basically the idea of giving them a one-time check of $1,400 or $200 every month.
I'm really wondering. I'm really scared. And like I said, I'm gonna let you go. I know you have those calls.
Sure.
I'm really kind of worried about, not worried, but scared about what are they gonna do? Are they gonna give us? See, I get survivor's benefits under my husband. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm not. But and so I took it. I got the 71% cut, not the 100%, because I took it early
Sure.
due to my disability. But I just want to say real quick that I'm really, really concerned. They're going to try to, because inflation is out of control. They're saying that it's not as bad as it was when it was 2020 or 2021. I disagree. I think it's worse.
Oh, it's way worse now.
And
Yeah,
so,
it didn't go down. I mean, we're at the top of a mountain. Yeah.
Robert, the lion said, well, we're not going to give you as much as we did back then. I think it was 2022, so it was 3.5%.
Yeah.
Now they said that they're only going to do 2.5 because it's not as bad.
Right.
And we all know that's a lie.
Right. Well,
hopefully they'll give us some type of stimulus check, or Biden or somebody while he's on his way out the door, or Trump, give us some type of stimulus check. I do know Trump said that he's going to kick some of these people who's not supposed to be on it. Somehow, people that cross the border, whatever I heard, are getting something.
Yeah, they get SSI benefits if they're a refugee, asylum seeker, entrant. Yeah.
Well, he said he's going to get rid of that. So if he gets rid of that, maybe that may leave room for Americans. I mean, like, my personal opinion is, even though I do have compassion for all mankind,
sure,
I do have the philosophy of America first.
Oh yeah,
and
sure,
it's a matter of survival. People who worked all their lives and put into it all their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a really touchy situation, and that's why I believe American first. I don't believe that it's right that all of our funds went over to Bahrain. I don't feel that is right. All of our funds went over to Africa. And we got people right here in America that's starving to death. I'm African American. I'm not racist against Haitian people, but I don't think that it was right that they were set up in big hotels in Cleveland. And you got people starving halfway to death, and you got people living in luxury hotels and stuff. It's just not fair. So whether you agree or disagree with Trump or whatever,
sure.
One thing I can most definitely agree on, most of us can agree, that maybe it may not be such a bad idea if he takes some of those people off of SSI and take care of American citizens first. On that note, I'm going to let you go and let you give your feedback to the audience.
Perfect. Well, you have a wonderful, wonderful night, Thank you.
Okay, you too.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's amazing when I read your comments, and I know a lot of people are Democrats when it comes to Social Security benefits, but I think most would agree Biden on the spectrum of presidents is easily, as a measurable existence, one of the worst presidents we've ever had. The main thing that you have to take from this is that in order for Social Security recipients, retirement beneficiaries, disabled people, auxiliary benefits, survivors, etc., in order for them to succeed, the economy in America has to be doing well so that things are cheap. And that was the main thing, the worst part that hurt the American fragile class. And we'll see what happens going forward. It could go well, it could go horribly. We don't know. But hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. What is your legal question? Remember to use a fake name. Go ahead.
Hi. Yes. My question is, my name is Carol, and my question is, I am at the appeals council level, and I was looking for a somebody to work on contingency basis, and take over there for me, or for the representative that I have. He's not a lawyer. He's anyway. So I found somebody, and they misheard me, I guess. I don't know how they misunderstood, but they started a brand new application, and
Oh, wow.
are not taking. Yeah, yep. And I don't know what to do now. I looked at my online account,
Yeah.
and it showed that I was already denied within, I think it was 10 days, on the first SSDI part or something out of 3,
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of concerned because that seems like a really big whoops, by somebody.
Well, let me ask you
because I
this. With your SSDI claim that you had originally that went to appeals counsel, did they render a decision on that, or did they kill that claim and then start a new SSDI claim?
The first original, okay, well, I have 2 that went to an ALJ. This is the second one that we are taking to the appeals council, and my representative is not on there now. Starting today on my online account. It's very strange because I did not fire him legally yet.
Okay. Well, no, when you do a new filing, I mean, they have to submit new documents, new rep docs for it. So that's why they're not on it. But so so the reason you said you got a denial within 10 days for the SSDI new filing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What is your date last insured? Because that's probably the issue with this situation. What's the DLI?
Very long time. Very long time. I haven't worked since 2006.
Okay.
And I think it was 2011 is where my insurance disability benefit, because that's where my work credits were taken through, was 2011, December of 2011.
Okay.
So my first ALJ claim would have been, but.
So, I mean, what I would say is this. When did you file the last claim that's up at appeals council?
Oh, that was filed May of 2022. There we go.
Okay. So the DLI is too far back. So there's no way to really win that claim. You could go ahead and basically file an SSI claim to try and get into SSI benefits. Yep. Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's what yeah, that's where we're at. I'm sorry. That's where we're at with the new one. Yep. Okay. SSI, 2.5 years. It started off with both SSDI and SSI. With a different law firm. And then I ended up with the representative, 3 representatives. And now I wanted to get somebody who wanted to get paid,
Sure.
And so I looked for somebody because there's bad communication, and I don't know how they could mishear me, but they didn't hear me correctly, and I was trying to find somebody to take over the appeal, and I feel I just don't know what to do. I'm like, oh my goodness, because they said no, that's not, and I signed things.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kicker. Like, somewhere in there, you filled out a new application and began the process over. So they're going to be like, well, what do you mean you're not on board? You filled this out and this out and this out. So there's going to be like that back and forth with them. The other side of the coin is like with the appeals council, you've got to ask yourself, what were the factual or legal errors of law or errors of facts that occurred by the ALJ to actually get a remand? So was it a good filing for appeals counsel, or was there some... I guess... Sorry. Oh, yeah, no worries.
Can I do that? I have no memory.
Sure.
I have no... So, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
So one of the things you'll have to do is, assess whether or not that appeals council claim was likely to succeed based off the brief that was submitted to the AC judges to see what the arguments were. If the arguments aren't very strong, then, and the denial was highly likely, then filing a new claim would have been the right choice. So, I mean, you got to figure out from the brief they submitted whether or not it was a wise choice to kill off the appeals council claim and go initial filing, or whether or not there were, good grounds to go ahead and take that thing to appeals council.
Right. And somebody said that I'm sorry, I know more questions. I'm sorry, I can be done, but I do appreciate your help,
Sure.
And I want other people to get help as well.
Yeah.
I just was freaking out, like, oh my gosh, where did my representative go, and why it's like going fast? And the lady was like, "This is impossible." She was trying to tell me how that's impossible. And I was like, I can screenshot this to you. It's in my account, how fast I got denied. Those 10 days.
Well, yeah, but that's an easy denial. If your date last insured was, back around 2011,
Right.
then the SSDI claim is going to be instantly denied, and the SSI claim will continue, because with the SSDI claim,
Right.
you don't have enough quarters of coverage, so the claim is dead before they can develop it. Yeah.
Yes, and I did it just like gaslighting. I felt gaslighting, like that's impossible. And it's like, I can send you a screenshot if you want. I really am not lying.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
I'm just having a little panic.
Yeah, no worries. But anyways, go get the brief that was submitted for the Appeals Council. You can always ask the SSA for a copy of your exhibit disc and go from there.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you do. I hope you have a wonderful night. And take care.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Perfect. So we're probably going to take like 2 more calls. I see a question, extraordinary beautiful journey. Question regarding children with disabilities. Do they qualify for SSDI if the dad is receiving it since 2019? Until what age do they qualify? One child is 15 and one is 17. How do I apply? So you would just call the SSA and ask, are there any auxiliary child-based benefits available for those children? Because there's basically auxiliary benefits for the children, then there's SSI benefits for the children, and then 18 to 22, there's the disabled adult child benefits for the children. So if you're not sure how any of those programs work, just call the SSA and ask them, do these children have any benefits available to them through my disabled husband? That's just how you would do it. Because, you're not going to, like, if we went through all the different programs, it would take too long. Let me take this call real quick. Okay, let me get the speaker on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot. We are live on YouTube. How are you feeling? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, with the food insecurity for seniors is, and with people in general, is also the quality of food have gone down. Do you think that Kennedy that's coming in office is going to do a better job in taking out some of the bad chemicals and the things that we have in our food, like high fructose corn syrup and things of that nature? Because I know you're going to be doing, you stated that you're going to be doing a report, regarding the food security, as far as the $3,000 that they may offer seniors, that there may be a certain type of food or whatever we can buy where they keep it down low. But my concern is the quality of food. And do you think that Kennedy, when he comes into office, he's going to be the health manager or whatever, that he would do a good job in protecting us, because so many seniors are getting ill?
So
one of
the big things that people have to keep in mind with the food industries is that they are a massive multi-billion-dollar industry that has basically been fraudulently abusing how the groups that decide in the federal government as to whether or not we should be allowed to eat something or have a certain amount of something in a food. And so what's happened through this bribery game is we've ended up with these ridiculous products that are actually extremely harmful to us. Now, it doesn't mean that the product in name in general is harmful. It's just what they put into it in America that makes it highly addictive, highly dangerous, cheap to make, quick to sell product. So Kennedy talks a big game. Whether he survives, literally survives, trying to do exactly what you're saying is, I think, more of the relevant question, because we could change our entire system of food to be more like Europe, where, Europe doesn't allow certain types of ketchup, certain types of hot dogs, certain types of this and that. And, as a result of that, we would have much healthier people, which would make sense, because then a lot of people wouldn't end up on disability benefits. People would live longer, but then that would cost the government more through the trust funds of retirement. So the thing that I would say is this:
there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money made in them keeping us sick.
Yes, yeah.
He's going against the health industry. He's going against a lot of these big businesses. They may want to just literally take him out. I'm serious. Because they don't want him to cost them money.
I don't know if he'll survive. Like, that's my biggest question is, Trump is trying to go against the swamp, and there's certainly a very deep and horrible swamp of just terrible people who are taking a lot of money from very rich people to misguide the American people. I would have loved from the Democratic side if they had promoted Martin O'Malley as opposed to Kamala Harris, because she was just basically another Biden. She's upheld by the billionaires, and she had zero talent. She couldn't work her way through tough questions. Yeah. So, it was a situation where there were great Democrat options, except they just picked the worst one, literally the one that couldn't get enough votes, had to drop out first. So, but if Kennedy can survive, he will warp, our entire food system, and he'll go after sugars, he'll go after certain types of proteins, he'll go after, and remember, he'll start to publish articles. Like there's two, all right. We're getting a little off track here, but it is definitely related to Social Security benefits, the health of people, especially with sugar. But so there's two things. There are two committees that are going to come out that are going to be a shitstorm that nobody's really ready for. Committee number one is on voting. What systems we use for voting, how can they be hacked, modded, how can they be changed, etc. Once Trump gets in, he's going to do a voting commission to figure out how our county, state, federal voting systems, are good or potentially terrible. And as somebody who used to code websites all the time, it is so easy to just modify something, and that was one of the things I had to watch out with that, because I was hanging out with a buddy and he said, well, you can't hack my website. And I got into the back end and it took me like 4 minutes. And so the point is, when it comes to, and that was back in the day with WordPress and Joomla, but the point is, you have to understand when it comes to, and they advertise to people, and people's brains, for some, I don't know why, they just automatically accept it like it's just the word from the heavens. But if you have anything electronic that's built on code, the only thing that's going to be really good at stopping people in the future is adaptive AI that works as a security officer to basically figure out if you are who you are. Based off of how you've moved your finger across the screen previously, what types of words you've used in sentences previously, where you've put commas.
That's why they're bringing AI.
Yeah.
We've got to keep in mind of that, right?
But, AI can be used in good and bad. But the point is, what will happen is they'll go in and find massive abuse through these commissions in the voting systems that we have. So there will have to be literally a voting coin that you receive on a blockchain server that all Americans have access to. But in order to make that, all the systems have to agree with that. So that's number one. That's the big commission that's going to come out. That's going to vastly affect retirement benefits and Social Security benefits, because for the first time ever, we're going to know de facto which politicians we're actually voting for, who are likely to get in. Because let's be fair here, big money changes elections. Okay. Harris didn't get $1 billion just because people wanted to see a show. That's not what that is. The other thing that I think is going to be a massive thing is the commission put together on fighting these food companies and healthcare groups. So the food companies are going to have to massively change their products, which is going to make them more expensive. And then they're going to have to, at the same time, make them cheap enough for people to be able to afford. So, you know what I mean?
God, this is just a hot mess. This whole thing.
Right. And so then we get into... So then we get into the preventative care, the upkeep treatment, all that stuff of the big pharma industry. And so the whole point there is that Medicare is under fire because American people need it. Politicians say we can't afford it, and we can. I mean, it's running out of money. And then basically, going down the line, the pharmaceutical companies, the mega hospitals, they have all these new, bigger hospitals being built constantly, upgraded, etc. So what we're going to see is the hospitals are going to attack basically Kennedy. The pharmaceuticals are going to attack him. The assisted living houses are going to attack him. The food industries are going to attack him. And then basically there's another thing, which is the study of particles, specifically how our brain works psychologically with food, and then also types of things that they put into food. Because they've done a lot of research on things that hook people. And, remember, food can be just as addicting as some sort of drugs that could be prescribed to a disabled person.
Well, we all know that they put certain chemicals in food
that
literally make people addictive, and they know exactly what they're doing.
So yeah, well,
cravings for this or cravings for that. It's because of some of the additives and stuff
yeah,
they put in our food that they know that is addictive.
yeah,
Or making us sick. Some of this bioengineered food and some of this fake meat and all that they got, and you know, and then all the killing of the cattle, saying we all need to go vegetarian. We don't need to eat meat, which is a lie from the pit of hell. It takes they have to kill even grow certain vegetables like mushrooms or whatever. They got to kill off some of the animals, you know, some of the squirrels and stuff like that. So
well,
it's just as much damage.
Just a side note, when I was in law school, I studied basically animal testing. And one of the things you have to keep in mind is that animal testing occurs before it goes to humans. Then humans become the beta testers for a lot of these products that we actually receive. They have different types of extracts that they're able to test. I mean, they blind animals, they maim animals, all to just basically see if they can use this product essentially on, you know, humans. And so, but I should do a video on that, specifically the types of extracts that they use that are addictive in nature. And also, and see, that's part of the problem too. There was a huge legal claim that was actually really interesting. It was about the use of lead in fuel and how these mega companies were willing to fund scientists to study things other than them putting lead in fuel. And that's the same exact litigation that will be applicable here when the court system, you know, starts to adjudicate these claims, you know, where they'll say, look, this is making healthy people, disabled people, and retired people unhealthy because we have these types of seaweed extracts, et cetera, in these foods that makes them, you know, want the food more, desire the food more, and then basically become sick off of it. But anyway, let me get to the next caller, though. But I will catch you a little bit later, and you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, so the two commissions that are just going to change the entire the outline of how America works with voting is the Voting Commission, where they study all that stuff, and then the Food Commission, which is going to change the entire healthcare industry as well. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. Remember to use a fake name throughout this this call. What is your legal question? Go ahead.
Hi, my question is, it's a little complicated. I received an inheritance in January.
Okay.
In February. Before I received the inheritance, I started a business so that I would be able to put it into a PES, right? Property Essential Self-Support, so I can maintain my Medicaid. It took them so long to even reply to my request in my local office to tell me for the PES, the Property Essential Self-Support position, that they now are saying that I was over my asset limit and I no longer qualify for SSI. And they also are trying to say that, I don't qualify for SSI. And they wouldn't tell me, they would never answer the questions that I needed to know about the PES to make sure I could structure it properly so that it would qualify. Does that make sense?
So keep in mind, I'm a little out of it tonight because I'm super tired and it's super late. But you are on SSI. You started the company, and the company basically said the earnings were over a certain amount. Is that correct?
Not the earnings, the asset, which is the building. I started a rental. I bought a condo that I rent out, and I don't live in it. I don't plan on living in it. Yeah, I did it as a business. So they're saying that because I had that asset, that now they're just, and I reported everything.
It's an overpayment. Yeah.
Right. But they missed it. They missed all of it. And now they want me. And then they went back 6 months before that and said, oh, you have another 6 months of overpayment. And I had to prove to them that the 6 months of overpayment was you all's, my overpayment that you made to me when I first started, the backpay.
So,
I them that money.
So basically any months that you owned a secondary property, because remember, if you're on SSI, and you're sure you're on SSI, not SSDI, correct?
I'm correct. And it's not a secondary property. I'm on Section 8. I live in an apartment, and that was something I bought with my inheritance.
Okay.
So I can't afford to live there. And so I made it a business from day before I ever got it.
Well, I mean, Section 8 is going to want to have a conversation with you too, to be fair, because they're gonna say you have to go, live there if you have your own apartment complex, and then you can rent out the other rooms and take the income from that because you're no longer a poverty. Like, how many rooms does this thing have?
Oh no, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo.
Oh, it's just a single condo.
Fee and the taxes, yeah, it's just a one condo, one unit condo.
So the problem,
actually, Section 8 will allow you to have a property. And they'll count the income from it, but you don't necessarily have to live there as the issue if you can't.
Yeah, I thought this was like a whole apartment building. So if it's just a single, yeah. So keep in mind, like if you have earnings from that, then they're going to reduce. So you got the $65, $20 rule that they don't count, and then every $2 over that they subtract $1. So how much does this, how much does this condo pull in each month?
It puts in $1,350, but I turned in a business plan to them, showing them all my assets and all my liabilities
expenses,
and my expenses. And so it puts me under. The income still isn't the issue. Because they can subtract that if they want to, but they have not acknowledged the fact that this is property essential self-support, which is what I'm trying to put it in. You see what I'm saying? If they make it property essential self-support, then Section 8 and food stamps can't count that income either that way.
So one of the things you're saying is you're treating SSI like regular business deductions are applicable, but SSI doesn't do regular business deductions. They use deductions for your impairment to be able to do the job of owning and managing that particular thing, not traditional deductions that affect your ROI. So you can't assume that you can just deduct everything and be under the SGA a limit. So, one of the things you have to keep in mind is you're going to have an overpayment because you can only deduct away these types of deductibles related to your impairments and you getting fixes to those limitations. And, those items you purchase, those services you purchase, those are deductibles. So, okay.
I thought that the property is an asset because it's a part of a business when it's property essential self-support.
So what you've got to go research and learn about are what's called EARWAYs. They're called impairment-related work expenses. That way you kind of understand what is an allowable deduction, because a lot of the things that you're probably saying are allowable deductions are not for SSI purposes. They are for tax purposes. They're just not for SSI purposes, because as an SSI person, you are supposed to be impoverished. And so the reality is, when you own an apartment complex, you're allowed that one home, but if you're using it to go ahead and create income, like if you were on SSDI, none of this would be a problem, but you're on SSI. So your main goal should be to find a way. Well, I mean, let me ask you this. What's your date last insured? Because you're getting income every single month coming in from this thing as a business that you own. So you should be paying your taxes for your quarters of coverage, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to. Yes, I mean, I will be as soon as I haven't touched the money. I've kept it in an account because I've been trying to find out from them how do I need to I know I had to be a sole proprietorship firstly in order to even qualify. The property essential self-support piece that's the piece nobody can answer the questions on, because it says that if it's for your business, that it doesn't count against you as an asset. That's the part that nobody's addressing for me. I can't get the answers for.
Well, no, it's not about that with SSI. For Section 8, you can make that argument better, but for SSI, you can't make that argument. You can't claim that this is just an asset and this is just no. You are the sole owner and operator of a business on a poverty disability program that defines itself by saying this person is unlikely to be able to work. So we give her a check as an impoverished disabled person. So what they expect you to do, right, is they expect you, if you're earning that money, to go get, a cheap apartment and not receive SSI benefits because now you have an income. That's what they expect you to do.
Eventually, but I can't afford to do that on what I get. But the problem is that they're saying that but under PES, the value of the building is not supposed to throw me out of the asset department, not the income. The value of the building should not throw me out, so I can grow to that point. You understand what I'm saying? That's what the program is for.
Yeah, but you got a $2,000 resource limit, right? Now, SSI allows you to own one. Go ahead, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. PES says that you don't have to, if you use PES, property essential self-support, you don't have that limitation anymore if it's a business producing business. So that's where you get that protection so that you can earn the money to go to the next level to get off of SSI. Otherwise, if you can't save past $2,000, you'll never be able to get off SSI.
Well,
you can't work.
That's the point of SSI, is that you can't work. So you're saying basically, so you're saying that the actual asset is not countable. I mean, either way, you get to have one house. You know, technically they expect you to live in it and use it, but
I inherited it and I can't afford to live in it. It's nice to know it, but I can't afford to live there. I'm on Section 8. I can afford my Section 8, but I couldn't afford to live in my condo. So I knew that before that would ever happen. So I made it. It's a business. It's a rental business. I'm trying to get other property eventually. If I don't, see, I need to know. I can't find any more information about property essential self-support than what I've read in a couple of law firms. And I need somebody who can tell me, like, that asset is not supposed to be used. That's what PES is for. And then the income, your bank account, any money that you make is also PES, and it can't be used either. It can't be counted as an asset. That's the protection of it. And nobody seems to be able to answer that question or address that for me, and that's why they can't say anything. They can't figure out what to do.
No, I think what you're saying is you're seeking protection under an auxiliary program to not have that asset counted. But you have two issues. You got a resource limit, you got an SGA, and then you have a reduction principle with SSI. The reduction principle, if you earn that money is still going to count against your SSI benefits and wipe them out and cause you an overpayment. So you're not getting over that one. Then you also have the SGA limitation, which you're going to hit soon, because as you raise the rent each year, you're going to hit that. Right now it's the $1,550, but as you raise the rent $100 each year, you're going to hit that real soon. Then you're going to be earning over SGA and not eligible for SSI at all. Your argument, which is about not counting the asset, as part of the resource issue, that's not really a problem because you're allowed to have one place. Like, you're allowed one house, one car.
No. That's the thing. I'm not living in this or owning it. If I did that, you'll be correct. This is one condo that I rent. I don't live in it. And I'm using it just as a business. So, yes, if I lived in it or planned on moving in it eventually as a passive thing, yes. But I've separated this from myself completely, and it's its own business. It's a sole proprietorship. I've registered it with my county and everything. So it's a business separate from me. It just happens to be a condo. So they're saying that as a business separate from me, that asset should not be counted against me at all. If I lived in it, wouldn't be, but I don't.
But what does it matter? You're going to violate the $2 every $1 they take away rule. You're going to violate within the next 2 to 3 years the SGA rule. What difference does the asset make?
The income, because right now, here's the thing. Right now, I'm under the money situation. Like, I would still get some money, but my benefit is my concern, like my Medicaid and stuff like that. I'm not violating those things if they allow the asset not to be over. The asset's the only thing that will mess me up. Because the
earnings are going to be over.
Is also, no, because with PES, the bank account that money goes into, if it's kept separate in a sole proprietorship, it does not count against you either. It's also PES. It's also property essential self-support. The physical asset and the bank account and any money in it. I've read it. It's in the books. It's there.
I'll have to read up on the POMs on it. I mean, I'm pulling up the POMs right now. For those who are watching, it's SI 01130.500. Property excluded regardless of value of return. Property used in a trade or business. Property that represents government authority to engage in an income producing activity. property used by an individual as an employee for work, property required by an employer for work. But see, the thing I mean, not to mention they're going to do, if you're running a business and you're on SSI benefits, they're going to do a CDR on you and probably pull the benefits. So they say property
for SSI. You do a CDR also for SSI?
No, all the time.
Okay.
Especially.
What's the CDR?
Continuing disability review. Like if you're running a side business,
oh no,
they're going to do a
I reported
CDR.
it.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you're telling them. I mean, you can tell them,
I'm
but
not physically doing anything. It's a passive business. It's
that's
rental.
owning
So
a condo that's for rentals is never passive. It's never passive.
I have a management company.
Okay, so you hire a management company to do all the functions.
All the functions, and I have a homeowners association that does all the other stuff. I've really planned this out well, and it's like there's nothing that I violate, and I reported everything on time, and I'm not hiding anything. You know what I mean? And so I follow all the rules that there are to follow, and at this point, I mean, they don't know what to do. They're not telling me anything because they don't have the answers. I don't think a lot of people know what to do with a pass. I don't know how many people even use a pass.
Let me see.
And so the bank account's protected.
These home properties.
But I would fall under the one that you just read that says that if you have a property that you use for business, it doesn't count against your other asset or the bank account. Now a law firm had to tell me that part.
Let's see what we got here.
One book that I've read. Yeah.
So I'm in 20 CFR 416.1212. Let's see. So they're saying that basically the individual's home is property in which they have an ownership interest and that serves as their principal place of residence. It can include, so that's not going to be you. Principal place of residence, that's not going to be you. Dependent relative, no. Equitable ownership, no. So I'm trying to find how this would be allowable.
You just read it. When you said the second one that you read about what the business asset, that's the one because it's a business asset and it doesn't. That's where we're. I think the second one you read.
You're trying to claim that because it's a business asset that they're not going to count the income that's coming from it.
No. They're going to count the income. No. The income's going to be counted. That's why I gave them the business plan to show them my profits and my all that type of stuff. It's going to be counted, and the money will be, like you said, that little formula will be added to my money. But I can still have SB on SSI. Right? If I may not get much money, but still I'm on it. The problem is that they're trying to kick me off SSI completely by saying that the asset, which is the building, throws me out because of the asset part, throws me off the whole SSI thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I see that, but I don't see that as the main problem. The main problem because remember, and I'll read it to you, when counting the value of resources an individual has, the value of property essential to self-support is not counted within certain limits. There are different rules for considering this property depending on whether it's income producing or not. Property essential to self-support can include real and personal property, for example, land, buildings, equipment, and supplies, motor vehicles, and tools used in trade or business, non-business income produced. So how do you prove that this is essential for your self-support?
Oh, because I don't have any other income. And so I don't have any other income. And this money is kept separate from my personal income, which is part of the requirement. So they can see everything that I do is that's all business. And anything in that business account can be left in there as property essential self-support. And that's what I would use to grow, to get off of SSI eventually. So they can do the formula, but this is the thing, once it's taxed, then this is the problem. If I were to give myself money every month, like draw every month to live off of, then they can apply their formula. But I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it in the property essential self-support account, and they can't. It's not considered anything actually. And that's where it gets really tricky because I've only heard one law firm talk about this. And
So
I can't get in contact with people that actually wrote the book.
How are you going to actually get around the $6,000 rule?
Because it says that if you put it in property essential to self-support and it's used for business, that it doesn't count against you. That's what the
No, but then there's a $6,000 up to, right?
That's different.
So it's up to $6,000 of non-business property that's used to produce goods or services that are essential. So you're saying this solely exists as a business property.
Yeah.
Using trade
Non-business
business
is if
that you are
have,
required
like,
to have an
let's say
employee.
You do something out of your home. Let's say you do work out of your home.
So you are required to have an employee.
Yeah, I'm not mixing here.
I would have to look up the specific statute on this, because the problem I'm seeing here is that this is going against the foundation of what SSI is. And you're claiming, you're fighting over the asset and then, counting the money and how it's used and yada, yada. Any property used in trade or business or personal property that you are required to have as an employee, like inventory or goods and tools or other equipment. So you're saying this real property exists, basically to create, you owning the business to go ahead and create this, and then somehow it's not being counted as funds. See, but that's the thing. You still
if you don't draw it. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing. People don't tell you that the property essential self-support can be the bank account too with the business. Those are also property essential self-support. So it's not coming to you as a draw unless you draw off of it, which you can. But if you don't draw off of it, it's separate, just like the actual real property is. The accounts are separate. I know, and nobody. That's what I'm saying. I can't find an attorney to help me.
That's because we just never see this stuff like this. I've seen this. I think I saw this maybe 7 years ago, and then nothing ever comes from it because So I would have to research it and then kind of look into it.
Can I implore you to talk to? Have you heard of Hammis and Grambling or Hammis and Griffin or something?
I don't need them. I can figure it out on my own. But the point is, the bottom line is, I'd have to read through the specific statutes and see what the placement is, because what you're describing here, and I see it, the resource definition, what they're saying, I just
there's a book that describes it. Some attorneys wrote some years ago. That's the only thing I've ever seen that has it in writing to prove that this is what this is. And I've been studying for 3 years trying to get this right. And so I just was hoping I knew somebody who would have had the experience with it to help me.
Oh, nobody has experience with it. That's the thing. Like this hasn't come up with any of the law firms I used to work for. This has never come up in a hearing. No judge has ever brought this up.
Wow.
That I've interacted with over well over a decade with working for other firms and my own. So I will look into this. I've got the rule here, 23-103.3.10, but I got to be honest, what you're describing does not work within the SSI framework. So I'm just reading through the types of properties. Yeah, go ahead.
Would you be able to tell me what's not working according to what's written?
Well, yeah. First off, you're going to violate the amount of money. You're earning too much. They take away too much money, and then you're left with no SSI. So that's the first thing you're going to violate.
How is that possible? If I bring in $1,350 and my liabilities are about $450.
No. Remember, you're doing the calculations wrong. So these liabilities, it's not like a regular business with SSI. You don't get to deduct whatever you want to say these are my liabilities. You get to deduct earways. You don't get to deduct whatever you want. It's not a tax IRS situation.
Right, but some things are like you have to deduct the homeowners association fees. You have to deduct the fees that you pay for certain things. Those are clear deductions. These are not just my deductions. I have to do the taxes, I have to deduct.
That's for the IRS, but that's not for the SSA. Like Title 16 is not going to allow you to go ahead and do the deductions that you're talking about. For your taxes, you use that as a business owner, but not for SSI benefits. You have to use earways for that.
So you're saying that money is considered income, and then I have to pay those things, so it's not considered what you're saying,
for tax purposes, you get a tax cut, but they're still going to consider that income against your Title 16 SSI benefits.
Okay. So then the only other thing would be is that the fact that unless I take a draw, if I leave it in the business account, is not considered my income at that point. After it's tax, if I take a draw, then that can be held against me. But that's the purpose. So somebody would have to ask, what's the purpose of a PEP a bank account being a pest. How does that help you? Because you can grow as much money as you want in a pest, in a bank account. You can grow $50,000 in there, property and single self-support. And is a bank account associated, all the bank accounts associated with a business can grow to whatever extent they want. There's no limitation. They said like $10 million. And I know it sounds crazy, but they make these loopholes for people that use them.
I have to see, you know what the thing is? I have to find out what the modern case law is on this because, you know, and I'm reading, I have this older book here. Yeah, I've got it. I've got the Authenticated U.S. Government Information GPO for 416.1222.
Not that one. There's a book that a law firm wrote about this. Can I send you that book? So you
you can send it over. I mean, I'm curious to see because I know that this violates the current modern rules being used by the SSA when it comes to income. It's amazing that this stuff is here, but at the same time, there's not much information on it. So I'd have to also do a case study to see what's going on with it. But I will say this, your main problem is not the asset issue, that your main problem is the income issue. And then the next problem after that is going to be the SGA income issue. So those are going to be your main two hurdles for somebody being on SSI benefits. And
when
then
you say SGA, do you mean the overall yearly amount?
that you earn, you know, the monthly amount that you earn per month is going to be over SGA.
Okay.
Because, you know, you're going to get to that point where you're just going to raise it, you know, up, and then you're going to hit that, you know, it's 1550 right now. 2025 SGA is.
Well, this is a unique situation too. I don't have my Medicaid with them. I got my Medicaid before I got on SSI, so I have it with DHS.
So why is that going to make a difference?
Because I'm not going to lose my Medicaid from them. I'll keep my Medicaid.
You'll still have it through an alternative function, but it doesn't matter. You're not worried about Medicaid. You're worried about your monthly check.
No. I'm worried about the Medicaid because I need insurance for my diagnosis.
If you had it from another program and you don't violate that other program, then you should be okay. The Medicaid is still going to be there. The problem is the monthly check that you get from SSI. That's going to be the issue.
Well, see, I can get no money from SSI and still have my disability status, right? I can get no money. I cannot qualify for the money part, but I still have cancer. I still have my other diagnosis. That doesn't change. The status doesn't change.
Right, but remember, SSI is a poverty program. It's not about just medical approval. It's about financial poverty. So, you know, you can say you have 50,000 more other impairments and you are extreme in all of them. It's not going to matter. If you violate the financial aspect of it, you're not eligible. What you need to do above all is go get some quarters of coverage and make sure you have enough to get your DLI for it and convert over to SSDI. That's what you need to do because you're having. So you need to go find out what your DLI is, date last insured. And then find a way to get your 4 quarters of coverage per year until you have enough. And then at that point, go ahead and basically transition to SSDI because all of this muckery here is not as important under the SSDI rules. Because, you know, with SSDI, you could literally live in the Taj Mahal and still receive traditional disability benefits. You know, now the problem you run into, with SSDI is you still have the SGA limitation. So, you know, that's something.
I never qualified for SSDI before. I applied for it, but they said I did not qualify. Did that change?
That's because your date last insured was too far back in time. When were you approved for disability benefits?
It'll be 2 years this past summer.
Okay, when did you stop working?
Oh, wow. It's been over 10 years, maybe 13 years.
So then you got to get some quarters of coverage to boost that and then go into SSDI benefits. That's the road you have to go.
How many do I need roughly to get SSI?
I don't know. I don't know what your date last insured is. If I knew what your DLI was, I could tell you, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Will this video be up for me to go back and look at?
Yeah, I mean, I have to go look at the CFRs on this thing and figure out what the deal is with this because I have had very little experience with this program, you know, and I got to be honest with you, it violates a lot of the things that are the current rules at the SSA. So I've got to see specifically what the deal is. I've also got to take Sweetie out to go to the bathroom, but because she's going through the surgery stuff. But send me an email with it, and then basically what some of your questions are, and then I'll go ahead and take a look at it because sometimes there are these little side programs, but remember, side programs don't always take preferential treatment. There are rules that take precedence over other rules. So you have to see which rule is going to be basically the one on top of the pile at the end of the day. So, but I'll take a look at it. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to send you the book that I've been reading from the law firm, and then you can that will give you some more insight where I'm getting my insight from.
Sure. Sounds good. Get it over, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You have a wonderful night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, so with that said, I've heard of this program before. It rarely ever comes up. I'm not sure if what she's doing is going to be within the allowable limits of it. I know she's going to be having issues with the $2 versus $1 situation as earnings increase because she'll earn over the allowable amount. And then, of course, they're also going to be looking at these assets of an SSI person owning a company, owning a held, and you're technically allowed to have one, but she's not living there. So that's going to be another thing too. But anyways, with that said, I will catch you all a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night. And then basically we will catch up tomorrow where I'll be doing some of the bigger videos. I was just super tired tonight. I'm going to take Sweetie out, but I will catch you later. And please take care of yourself. Attorney Walter Hnot, Disability Resolution PA. I will be on phones tomorrow, so we can always catch up then. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.